Speak No Evil is directed by James Watkins and it stars James McAvoy, Mackenzie Davis and Scoot McNairy. And in the remake of the 2022 Dutch film, an American family is invited round to the house of a British family, but what seems like a nice weekend away suddenly turns sinister. Now, I just did a short review of the original Speak No Evil, and I think the original is absolutely brilliant. Very hard to watch, very dark, but it's meant to be like that. And when I heard that they were doing a remake of that film, I was not happy. I was quite cynical towards it. I thought, okay, another shot-for-shot remake of a classic film in my eyes. But I must say that this film surprised me. It's not as good as the original, and I'll get into why in a bit, but it was actually really good. Now, it's not a shot-for-shot remake like I thought it was going to be, which I really appreciate. But I do think that this film really suffers from being a remake. If this was just the first iteration of Speak No Evil, I think I would have loved this film. But because we have the original version, which is very different to, especially the ending of the new film, I kind of have to compare it because they are so similar in many ways as well. And I kind of prefer the original film over this one. The main thing that I think is inferior to the original is probably the ending. The ending of the original Speak No Evil is dark, horrifying, but it sends that message of not trusting your gut and not speaking your mind can lead to dire consequences. And in this film, that's the same message presented, but not to spoil anything, but the film ends on a very much lighter note, and I just don't think it delivered the message of the movie that well. I just think the darker ending sent it 10 times better than what the ending of this movie did. Another decision that I didn't really like was that they tried to give the British family, the evil family, a bit of backstory and kind of a reason for why they're killing these families and taking their children. And I kind of don't like that. I kind of like the mystery of this family. You don't know why they're doing it, and I think that's just extra terrifying to me. And I think what also doesn't help this movie is that the characters are very dumb. Now, I know that in the original Speak No Evil, they do make some very dumb decisions, but it's meant to be like that, to show that this family is very vulnerable, they're way too polite, way too giving and flexible, that they just go out of the way to help their daughter get her teddy bear back, even though she's too old and stuff like that. And they know this family's evil, but they want to be polite. But in the new film, especially in the third act, and it's mainly the father, he makes some very stupid and rash decisions, even though they know that this family is very evil now. Kind of makes some decisions that nearly gets his whole family killed. So, yeah, and he was quite useless. So, there are moments which were just a bit too much of stupidity than the line. Like, it crossed the line of stupidity that I can accept for Speak No Evil. As I mentioned earlier, if this was the first iteration of Speak No Evil, I would have liked it more than I do. But I can't help but compare it to the remake because they are quite similar. But as I said, this film was actually really good. I was very surprised by this film. I think they did a brilliant job of making every scene uncomfortable, which is something the original does masterfully. I think they do a great job with that in this film as well. And the subtle actions that are hidden in plain sight from the British family to try and manipulate and test the American family were done really well. Like, there are a few moments that are taken from the original, but I think some of the newer ones as well, they did really well too. And I also think the third act of this film was absolutely brilliant. It becomes a sort of home invasion thriller for a bit, and it was really tense, really well done. And I like how the littlest things were paid off. And I think this film is shot really well. They do recreate shots from the original, but they still look good. And even some of the newer stuff, it looks really nice in this film. And I also really like the music choices in the film as well. I've always been a fan of using happy, jolly songs in very dark movies. I don't know what it is, but it just makes you so uncomfortable. And they use that a lot in this film, and it used it to great effect. And this is mainly a personal compliment to Blumhouse. I'm very happy that they just used atmosphere for horror. Just dark, long scenes of tension. No jump scares. There's not a single jump scare in this movie. And my god, is it absolutely refreshing. Nothing like the typical Blumhouse slop. No jump scares at all. Oh, it was beautiful. And finally, the performances were all really strong. James McAvoy is easily the standout here. He's a brilliant actor, we all know that. But he gives his best performance since Split. God, all those years ago. Absolutely brilliant in this film. Absolutely terrifying. Even when his character is being very nice, you can just tell there's just a little bit about him where you're like, is he going to snap? Oh god, and oh god, it's really tense. And that smile, woo! It's enough to give anyone chills.
Oh, well, that is very sweet of you to say.
Mackenzie Davis, Scoot McNairy, and Aileen Franciosi. I apologise if I pronounced that wrong. I probably butchered it. If I did, I'm sorry. But yeah, they were all really great in this film as well. And even the child actor who played the little boy. In fact, both child actors did really well. But the little boy, absolutely brilliant. Even in the final scene, he can act his hat off. Absolutely brilliant from him. So overall, I don't think Speak No Evil is as good as the original. And I do think the fact that it is a remake kind of hurts it a bit. But I was still very surprised by how much I enjoyed this film. It's very tense, every scene's uncomfortable, but you just can't help but watch. That third act was very tense and thrilling. It's brilliantly shot, the performances are all top notch. This is a really strong horror film. I'd honestly highly suggest you watch it. Even if you like the original Speak No Evil, and you kind of think, why are we getting a remake? Honestly, I'd highly suggest you watch it. I think you'll enjoy it, even though you won't like it as much as the original. So overall, I was very surprised by Speak No Evil, and it's going to get a very solid 7 out of 10. And guys, that is it for the end of this review. If you have seen the remake of Speak No Evil, let me know your thoughts on it. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. I'll see you later.